My name is Eric Wordweaver Sjerven, goalie of the Ridgar folk here in East Texas. Welcome to Weaving Words. This is the show where I go through and I tell some stories, share the art of storytelling with you. Some of my videos include how-tos, some tips and tricks, and I plan to do some on some of the sources that I use to find my stories from my videos in the future. But today's special. Today I want to share with you the story of Butterball. Now, this is my absolute favorite troll tale ever. I love this story. It is so much fun to tell. It is just, there's something so simplistic and beautiful about this story. It has three main characters, and that's it. You've got a couple of side characters, but for the most part, there are three main characters, and that's all you need. This is how simple a story can be and how beautiful it can be in its simplicity. This is a story about a little punk kid more than anything else. But he's smart and he's wily, and it shows how you can use your head to get out of all sorts of trouble. His luck is strong and his mind is sharp. And Butterball comes through some fun adventures as a result. So, without further ado, here is the story of Butterball. Fair warning, I do use the accent in this one. I hope that's not too off-putting. There's so much of the old world to this particular story that I can't help myself, and I love to jump in, and it's part of the theatric element of telling the story. So hopefully it's not too off-putting and you enjoy the story. So here we go. Yeah, now I tell you a story from the old country. I tell you the story of Butterball. Now Butterball was a fine young lad, could not be more than the age of 10. He was blond of hair and rosy of cheek, and round like a barrel. He was as big for a little child, for he loved to eat so, and he did have a love for shiny things. Now Butterball helped his mother round the house on most days, and his mother was a kind and matronly woman. She was not too old, yet not too young, and loved her Butterball more than anything else. They had this kind dog who watched over the house and kept him safe on most days. Other days he was just asleep by the fire, and those seem to be more and more these days. Well, one day Mother was sitting and sewing by the fire, and she hears the dog start to bark. And he's barking his head off like there's something out in the yard that he just can't tell what it is, but it bothers him deeply to his core. So Mother rushes to the window to see what's coming, and there she sees this ugly troll hag. Vile creature, ugly to look, her head tucked beneath her shoulder as she walked. She had a hunch in her back and a long tail that dragged behind her. Her feet were 3 to 4 sizes too large for her body, but still she came. She had a sack flung over her back, and a glint in her eye that let Mother know she was up to no good. So at last, Troll Wife comes and knocks on the door. Mother says quickly, Butterball, you run and you hide under the bed. Whatever you do, do not come out, do not make a sound. I've a feeling this woman is after you. For it is well known that the troll life in the area loved to eat little children, for they were good and spicy, especially in a gumbo. So off Butterball runs, and he hides beneath the bed, which was no small feat considering his shape and the size of the bed. So he hides beneath the bed and he pulls the covers over. As he's hiding and he's looking out, the dog is sitting right in front of the bed and just watching. Mother opens the door, and in comes the troll wife. Oh, hello, says the troll wife. Would Butterball be at home by chance? Oh no, I'm afraid he's gone out. He's hunting wild grouse down by the river, and he won't be back until after dark. Oh, well, that is such a pity. I had this nice silver fork that I wanted to give him. Shiny things. Uh-oh. Pip, pip, here I am. Out bolts Butterball. And Butterball runs up and says, I'm here Give to me this fork. Well, in a flash the troll wife, she snatches up Butterball and takes him off, slung over her back, and she begins to trundle off into the woods. There's nothing the mother can do, for the troll wife has got her steeled with magic. So off they go into the woods. Now after some time the troll wife begins to get tired, decides she's going to take a break, and in so doing she looks about and cannot seem to find a good place to stop. So she asks Butterball in the sack, "Listen here, little child, you know this place better than anyone. Where around here is a good place to stop and sleep?" Well, Butterball, being who he is, says, "Oh, it's no problem at all. You just stop right over here. There's a nice little clearing. You stop right there down by the brook and you can sleep for a little while. I'll just sit here in the sack until you're ready to go again." Well, the troll wife decides that she will take this advice, and she sits down by a stump down by the creek bed. And then Butterball fishes out of his pocket a little pocket knife that he always carries, for his papa always told him no boy should ever be without a pocket knife. So he pulls out his pocket knife and he cuts his way out of the bag. And he slips out through the bottom. Now, Butterball is smart. He thinks about this for a moment before he goes on about his business, and he says, "I think she will notice my absence, and then she will come back to the house. It would be a cunning joke if I were to stick something in the bag and make her think that I was still in there until she got home." So he does just this. He grabs a stone about the size that he would be wide, sticks it off into the sack, and then he takes a little sewing kit out of his pocket, for that was the wisdom of his mother. Always have a sewing kit about. You never know when you need to mend a button or to darn a sock. So he takes this, he mends the bag where he had cut himself out, and he sneaks off into the woods and trundles home, silver fork in hand. So as he gets home, he settles in and tells his mother of the fine joke. Now the troll wife makes it all the way home, and wonders why the boy in the sack, who had been so talkative before, was now so quiet, but she figures he's just fallen asleep, and did not want to wake him, for he did chammer on. So she gets to the house, and her daughter is sitting there by the kettle, beginning to cook dinner. So she rolls out and says, "I have a fine boy for us to eat tonight." Rolls the sack out to find the stone. Well, that won't do. There's no soup from the stone tonight. So she grumbles and she curses. And yet she passes the night. Now the next morning, Butterball is there in the kitchen with his mother again. And mother is this time working on baking some bread. And as she's baking the bread, she hears the dog go off. And he starts barking and yapping just like before. Well, mother knows this troll wife will not have been happy to lose her Butterball the day before. And so she looks to Butterball and says, "You hide behind the bed, or under the bed. Don't come out whatever you hear." So Butterball decides he will follow her orders, and he gets under the bed. And he decides that he will stay, and he won't do like yesterday and come out. So after all, he's got this shiny fork now. Whatever could he need? Well, mother hears the knock at the door. And in so doing, she goes by and opens the door. And there stands the troll wife. "Good morning. Is Butterball home by chance?" "Oh no, I'm afraid he's gone down to the river to fish. We're waiting for him to come back so we can cook lunch. But I fear he won't be back for a while, for the tides are not good for fishing today." "Well, that is a pity," said the troll wife, "for I gave him this silver fork yesterday, and I have the silver spoon to match it. Thought he might like it." "Pip, pip, here I am!" Out busts Butterball. But of course, why not? He wants the silver spoon to go with his silver fork. So off he goes to snatch the spoon from the troll wife. What should she do but snatch him up in the bag, and off into the woods they go. Ah, here we are again. Walking on down the woods. Trollwife eventually comes to a stop and decides to nap again in the same place, but this time she's smart. She moves the stones out of the way so that this boy cannot trick her again by putting another stone in the bag, and she cinches the top up tight so that she can make sure he never leaves out of the bag. Fair enough. She did not account for the fact that Butterball had cut himself out before and sewn himself back up afterwards, but she can't be the smartest thing ever. So Butterball does exactly that again. Cuts himself out, takes his silver spoon in hand, and he slips out of the bottom of the bag, or then he sews it up again, or then he runs back to the house. Of course, before he left, he stuck a stump off in it this time, since she'd hidden all the stones. And again the trollwife trundles home with her sack on her back, and when she thinks to spread out the dinner spread, what should roll out but this log? She curses. She's not happy at all. She vows one last time she will get this Butterball, and he will be the grandest stew she has ever made. So the night passes, and on the next day she comes once more to the house. Mother this time is making a kettle of tea. She hears the knock on the door. Quickly Butterball hides beneath the bed. Mother answers the door, and there stands the trollwife one last time. She says, "Good morning. Is Butterball by chance at home?" No, Butterball's not home today. No, he's gone out to gather firewood, and we've sent him over into the far side of the property so he can check on the fences and things there. So he will not be back for quite some time. Well, that is a pity, for you see I have the silver knife that completes the set of silverware that I gave to Butterball the day before. Seems a pity to split the set up. Should so like to give it to him. Oh, it's a complete set. Pip, pip, here I am. Out runs Butterball, and he says, "I have to have the knife." So she snatches him right back up. You would think he'd be smarter than this by now, but still Butterball right back into the same sack. Mother can do nothing, and the trollwife trundles off into the woods once more. Onward the speed toward the house, and when they got to the spot where the trollwife would have slept the night before, or the day before, she did not stop this time, for she knew that if she stopped and slept by the water, that wily little boy would slip out through the bag somehow and magically replace himself. No, this would not do. She will go straight to the house and not rest at any point. She will be tired, but it will be worth it. So on she sped, until finally she came home. Her daughter sat with the water boiling, ready to start the stew pot. In came the trollwife triumphant, for she had made it home with the little boy this time. They would have meat for their stew. Oh, she sets the bag on the chopping block, and then she looks to her daughter and says to her, "I want you to butcher this little boy and cut him into little bits so that we can put him in the stew. Then, while you are doing that, I will fetch our friends from the mountain and bring them down so that they may share in the stew with us." The daughter agreed to this and said that she would do just this. Now as the mother trundled off to the mountains, the daughter looked at the sack and looked at the knife and was confounded, for she had never prepared little boy before, especially not fat little rotund boy like Butterball. She did not know what to do. She didn't have any kind of inclination as to what she could do and how to go about turning this fat little boy into a warm, hearty stew. So she begins to cry, for she had only said she would do this to impress her mother. For troll wives are notorious for sneaking their children off and dropping them at other homes and stealing away their children. This is where the story of changelings comes from. She was happy that she had not been turned into a changeling and rather had been able to live with her mother. So she wanted to impress her mother. And she knew that she would get a stern reprimanding in the end when the mother came back and learned that she had not completed her task as she was supposed to. And she's crying, Butterball hears, and he says, "Why are you crying, woman? This is... you have everything you're looking for. All you have to do is butcher me out, stick me in the pot, and then your mother will be happy. Why are you crying?" Well, the daughter confesses that she doesn't know what she's doing. She hasn't got the first idea on how to butcher out this little boy. Butterball says, "Well, that's simple. Everyone knows how to butcher out little boys. Here, come over here and I will show you. You'll have to let me out of the sack, but I'll show you the process and then I'll help you through it, at least until, you know. So, I'll help you as far as I can, and then, well, once it's into the pot, you're on your own." So, she agrees. And she comes over, for trolls are not very bright. And as she comes over, Butterball shows her how she should position him on the chopping block to lop off his head, and then tells her how to dice him up. So as she leans over and he shows her exactly the position she will need to put him in, he says, "You will then take the knife and you will bring it down just like this." Off rolls her head. And with that, Butterball is free. Butterball reaches around, grabs her head and tosses it into the stew pot. Then Butterball goes and he chops the rest of the troll daughter up, and into the stew pot she goes. Then Butterball has an even better idea, for as he's looking around this cottage, he sees that the troll wife has got a great store of gold and jewels, but more than he can get out before she gets back. So he will have to come up with a plan. And a plan he has. So he takes the stump that he had before, and he takes the stone, and he goes up onto the roof, and he hides. Now, what he does next is most intriguing. As the troll wife comes home, she's laughing, she's boisterous, she has all of her friends with her. They come into the house and they are so excited, for they are going to have butterball stew. Oh, such a delicacy. They had been waiting for this for quite some time. The promise of the troll wife to her troll friends would finally be made good on. So as they come in, they look around and they do not see her daughter anywhere. She says, "Well, my daughter, my lazy daughter, must be off sleeping behind a shed or something. But at least she's gotten the stew ready, so let's come over here and let's taste it." Meanwhile, up on top of the house, Butterball goes to snickering, for he knows what is about to happen and he finds it funny as can be. Then Troll Mother reaches down with a bowl and a ladle, brings out a bit of the stew and says, "Here, we must try this." Passes it around. They each take a sip. The mountain troll, the friend of the troll wife, says, such a good butterball stew." Meanwhile, up on the rooftop, Butterball is laughing to himself, saying, "What a good daughter stew." And then the other friend does the same. What a good butterball stew. What a good daughter stew. Then the mother takes a giant bowl and just starts to eat, and she is so good. How could it be this good? And Butterball is dying laughing at this point, and he's screaming out, Dr. Stew, Dr. Stew, Dr. Stew. And the troll wife hears. And they all rush out of the house to find out what is this sound upon the roof. And just as they open the door, the stone and the log directly on their heads, killing all three. And with that, the troll wife is no more. Butterball climbs down from the roof, pleased with himself at his fine yoke, and he goes and he gathers up as much gold and jewels as he can. And then he trucks them off back to his house, and he lays them out for his mother, and says they will never go hungry again. Over the next few days, Butterball went back and got as much of the gold as he could carry. He brought it home to his mother and he took care of her. Together they grew up, strong and true. And Butterball used that wily mind of his to become a great leader of men. The end. Thank you for listening to today's story. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give a like to the video, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment down in the section below. Let me know, did you enjoy the story? Do you want to hear more like these? Did you like this one better than the things that I've written myself? Let me know, give me the feedback. You can also find me on Word Weaver Productions on Facebook. It is an open Facebook group, anybody can join in. I use this to kind of get information from you guys, to test some things out, and I would very much like to hear back from you guys. It's also a quick way for me to post up the videos, and I'll post up both my Weaving Words and my Raven's Call videos. If you enjoyed this, if you want to learn more about heathenry or just want to hear me ramble on about heathen-related subjects, check out the Raven's Call on my channel. You can find it over in my playlists. So, without any further ado, thank you. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a good day.